Good morning and welcome to the Public Building Commission of Chicago. Today is May 22nd, and we are currently hosting our pre-bid and technical review meeting for the Chicago Department of Transportation Works Progress Administration Street Reconstruction Project for streets West 100th Street, South Homan Avenue, South Short Street, contract C-1609. My name is Patricia Montenegro. I'm the contract officer for this project, and we now will turn it over for introductions. James?
Good morning, everyone. James Borkman, Director of Procurement at the Public Building Commission.
Minnie?
I'm sorry, Minnie Keys, PBC.
Thank you. Miguel?
Good morning, Miguel Fernandez, PBC.
Right. Jesse?
Good morning, Jesse Rodriguez, PVC Compliance.
Lisa?
Morning, Lisa Gitterup, PBC Controls.
Thank you. Patrice? I'll move on to Louis Chavez.
Good morning. I'm sorry. This is Luis Chavez. I'll be the project manager, work for the PBC.
Thank you. Kim?
Good morning, Kim Smith, Compliance, PBC.
Thank you. Have I missed anyone from the PBC team? I think we have everyone. I will now move on to our client. Jackie, can you please introduce yourself and your team?
Good morning, all. My name is Jacqueline Samuel. I am with CDOT Engineering. I am the program manager for the WPA. And Antonio?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm also a project manager at CDOT, just working with Jackie to offer assistance on this WPA program.
Thank you. And then we have Michael from Peralty Clark. Please introduce yourself and your team.
Yeah, good morning. Mike Ginacchione, project engineer with Peralty Clark, worked on designing these locations. And I believe John Clark, the project manager, is also online with us.
Yeah, good morning. I'm John Clark, project manager with Peralty Clark. So glad to be here.
Thank you. And I don't believe I heard Nick. Is Nick on the call?
Yeah, hi, good morning. Nick Vanderswan with Civil Tech Engineering, project manager providing consultant services for CDOT and Peralty Clark.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll move forward with the agenda. We've already gone through introductions, and James, confirm if there have been any general contractors or MBE, WBE subcontractors that have joined, yes or no?
Not at this time, Patty.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, we'll move forward with the agenda with procurement details for the project locations as we see stated here on the screen. West 100th Street from South Peoria Street to South Halsted Street. South Homan Avenue from West 37th Place to Dead End North. South Short Street from South Eleanor Street to South Hillock Avenue. The general scope of work for the project includes earth excavation, Portland cement, concrete base work, hot mix, asphalt surface course, water main, sewer and drainage structures, concrete curb and gutter, concrete sidewalks, detectable warning surface systems for curb ramps, concrete driveways and alley aprons, lighting, thermoplastic pavement marking, signs, topsoil sodding, and tree plantings. Again, for further details, you'll find them within book 3 and the drawings for the project. The contractor will be required to prepare a phasing and logistics plan for review and approval by CDOT and PBC prior to the mobilization and commencement of any work. The time for completion, this can be found in book 1. So we are looking at a substantial completion date for no later than November 29th, 2024. We have 2 schedule milestones. Schedule milestone number 1, the date for that is no sooner than July 31st, 2024, and then concluding by August 31st, 2024. Again, the substantial completion is by November 29th of 2024, and schedule milestone number 2 for the landscaping portion of the work shall begin no sooner than October 1st, 2024, and will conclude along with the substantial completion for the project. We've identified liquidated damages of $1,000 per day for the substantial completion date if missed, and $500 per day for these schedule milestones. The availability of all of the contract documents, so including book 1, book 2, book 3, and the construction drawings, can be found on Aloha Print Group's plan room. The link is provided on the screen and will be available on our website, or is available on our website. And you can find her contact information here as well. The documents are also available with our assist agencies, and there's the link provided. This list is also available on our website. The tech review meeting is scheduled immediately after this meeting. There is no site visit currently scheduled for this project, but notwithstanding, we want to ensure that the bidders become familiar with the project, because it will not relieve you from your responsibility for completing the work as required by the contract documents.
Thank you.
Okay. Request for information. The sole point of contact is myself, Patricia Montenegro. So all questions should be directed to my attention at patricia.montenegro@cityofchicago.org. And there is a current deadline of May 31st by 4 p.m. for any questions. At this time, there is no addenda has been issued. We do anticipate issuing one addenda. The bid due date and time for this project is June 18th, 2024 at 11 a.m. We want to remind everyone that the bid opening will be streamed live. It will be recorded, and then it will be available on our website for viewing on PBC's homepage, specifically the current opportunities page for the project. Also found here, link found there. Bid submission requirements, we want 1 complete copy of your bid document. Original signatures, if it's going to be a wet signature, we want to make sure it's in blue ink, or we will accept digital signature. Please ensure that you include your bid bond and include the master bid form, which includes the master bid tab, all 3 schedule prices, and the award criteria sheet in Excel and PDF format. And so we want to ensure that you include it separately, but within that one email. The PDF document should be a searchable PDF form and not a scanned copy. Very important here, we want to make sure that your bid is emailed to both of these email addresses listed on the screen. So bids@pbcchicago.com and patricia.montenegro@cityofchicago.org. So very important to make sure that we don't get confused. It's bids@pbcchicago.com and then patricia.montenegro@cityofchicago.org. If you are unable to submit an electronic copy of your bid, we want to make sure that you follow the instructions listed in Book 1, which is to submit a request explaining why you are unable to submit an electronic copy of your bid. And so that request must come in to my attention as well, patricia.montenegro@cityofchicago.org. There is currently a pre-award meeting scheduled for Monday, June 24th at 9:30 a.m. Of course, monitor any addenda for any changes for this meeting and any other meeting or detail that can possibly change the contract document and the requirements for this specific project. The notice of award is anticipated to be issued following our PBC Board of Commissioners meeting, which is scheduled for July 2024. The successful general contractor will be required to provide a compliant certificate of insurance and payment and performance bond within the 7 days of notice of award issuance. We have a few highlights of Book 1 and Book 2. So the estimated construction budget, which you'll find on page 2 of Book 1, is $2.8 million to $3 million. The mandatory project staffing for the project can be found on page 3. Scheduling software requirements can be found on page 4. Liquidated damages can be found on page 4. Prevailing wage rates can be found on page 5. Joint venture opportunities. We at the PBC always welcome joint venture opportunities between the general contracting community and subcontracting community. So subcontractors who want to reach out to general contractors, to prime general contractors are definitely welcome to do so. And we do encourage joint venture opportunities. If you wish to submit as a joint venture, we would ask that you complete a Schedule B, which is found in Book 1, page 31. And that you include your JV agreement. It can be in draft form, but by the time we award the project, we are looking to have it finalized. And then certification letters for any MBE or WBE participation. The bid form. So the bid form in Book 1 looks very similar to what you have here on the screen, with the exception that the bottom half has been cut off, but we wanted to essentially highlight that this is the basically the areas that will be populated based on the schedule of prices that you complete, which I'll explain in these future slides here. So these each location has a separate tab that will include the schedule of prices. So in that Excel document that you'll download from our either our website or the Aloha Print Group's website, there should be an Excel spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet will have 5 tabs, 3 tabs dedicated to each street. You're going to enter your unit pricing. So this is for one of the streets here. You're gonna enter your cost or your unit price per each line item, and it will automatically calculate here to the right and then automatically calculate below. On that bid form, once you've calculated, once this has been automatically calculated, it will carry over and populate the corresponding numbers within the master bid tab. Okay, so it'll carry over to lines 13 and 14. We want to make sure that this bottom half of the bid form also gets populated with your surety information and your information here as the bidder. So your firm name and the date you're completing the document. So I, again, just want to emphasize that there's already formulas, there's some automatic calculations already registering within these scheduled prices, so it should populate automatically for you. Award criteria figure also, our compliance team will go into a little bit more detail about the award criteria figure, but you will also populate within the light green fields, and then it automatically also tallies at the bottom and then transfers over to the master bid form. The basis of award can be found on page 8. So the award will be made to the responsible bidder submitting the lowest grand total award criteria figure. So line 14 of the bid form, whose corresponding grand total base bid is within the available funds for each street and avenue, and otherwise responsive to the requirements of the contract documents. Firms are required to fill out the entire bid form to be considered responsive. And we've, of course, reserved the right to reject any and all bids wherever such rejection is in the best interest of the commission. And any bid that is considered materially unbalanced will be rejected. At this time, I'll turn it over to our compliance team for compliance details.
Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome.
So, excuse me, for this project, the goals are, the MBWB goals are 26% MBE, 6% WBE. Please note that we only accept certifications from the city of Chicago and Cook County. Also, for additional MBWB special conditions information, you can refer to Book 2, Article 23 of the contract. The award criteria figure for this project is a maximum of 70% for minority journey workers, apprentice, and laborers, a maximum of 15% female journey worker, apprentice, and laborers. Also, we do have a community hiring goal of 7.5% and a city residency goal of 50%. Also, keep in mind that those percentages are going to be based off the total hours worked of the project. Heading next slide. This is your community hiring map. These are the communities that you will receive credit for community hiring. Patty, were you gonna add something additional? You're on mute, Patty.
Sorry. Thank you, Jesse. Yes, I did want to relay that this map that you're seeing on the screen is a revised version of what was issued in Book 1. I will be issuing an addenda that includes this revised version. So it will be part of the contract documents, the new version. Thank you, Jesse.
Again, these are the communities that you will be receiving credit for community hiring. Next slide, Patty. MBW compliance. So for documentation and monitoring, we use B2G now. This is basically a system that we use to monitor payments and participation from all our subs and certified contractors. Keep in mind that manufacturers will receive 100% credit, suppliers will receive 60%, and brokers will receive 0% credit. This is the Schedule D. This must be filled out by the general contractor. Please make sure that page 1 and 2 are filled out completely. The certified companies that you will list on here could only receive credit for the areas they are certified to do work in. The Schedule C must be filled out by the certified firms that will be working on this project. Please keep in mind, you need to fill out page 1 and 2, including the subcontracting levels on page 2. Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome, and thank you. So again, any questions with regards to the contract documents as issued for bid that are found on our website, that are found on Aloha's print group, plan room? Any questions with regards to those contract documents, please submit them to my attention at patricia.montenegro@cityofchicago.org. The deadline for submission of questions is May 31st by 4 p.m. And this concludes the procurement detail aspects of our meeting. And at this moment, we're going to transfer over to the technical review portion where we will discuss obviously the technical aspects of the project. So at this time, I will turn it over to Michael.
All right. Thank you very much, Patty.
You're welcome.
As we've gone over, this package consists of 3 project locations. They're highlighted in the aerial images shown on this slide. The 3 locations are West 100th Street from South Peoria Street to South Halsted Street, South Homan Avenue from West 37th Place to roughly 300 feet north where it dead ends, and South Short Street from South Eleanor Street to South Hillock Avenue. We'll start off with West 100th Street from South Peoria to South Halsted. This location is pretty typical for all the WPA locations we have. The pavement is in very poor condition. We've got a photo on the right there that shows a pavement in poor condition, and that has led to significant drainage issues and ponding along this location. In addition, there's no existing curb and gutter on either side of 100th Street. And the 2 other photos here show where some concrete parking blocks have been used to attempt to delineate between the edge of pavement and the parkway. Finally, the roadway width for 100th varies from 24 feet to 31 feet. Slide. So 100th is primarily residential. For this location, there are 2 commercial buildings on the northwest and southwest corners of 100th and Halsted. The commercial building at the northwest corner is an auto shop. They are currently operating. There are 2 entrances to that property. One is on 100th and one is on Halsted. The commercial business at the southwest corner is currently vacant and for sale, but that property also has 2 entrances, one on 100th and one on Halsted. 100th Street has sidewalk on both the north and south side of the street, and there are 6 driveway aprons, the 2 commercial entrances that I mentioned, and 4 alley aprons along 100th. There were two two borings taken on 100th Street, and the entire environmental report can be found in Book 3, Appendix C, Part 3. The soil disposal classification for 100th came back as CCDD unrestricted, and this is represented in the schedule of prices as earth excavation to CCDD facility. For our proposed improvements on 100th Street, we have full depth pavement reconstruction, and we're proposing to widen the roadway to a consistent 31-foot section and install curb and gutter on both sides of the street. There will be 8 catch basins installed along 100th Street, and to support these catch basins, there's 107 feet of 8-inch ESVCP and 40 feet of 8-inch ductile iron pipe that'll be installed as lateral connections to the existing 12-inch sewer in 100th. That existing 12-inch sewer is not is going to remain in place and not proposed to be reconstructed. The 40 feet of DIP is required at Green Street. The catch basins at the northwest and southwest corner due to horizontal clearances from the existing water main there. In addition, there are 4 alley aprons and 6 driveway aprons that'll be reconstructed, in addition to the 2 commercial entrances on 100th Street, the 2 aprons there. For those 2 commercial businesses, while those aprons are under construction, there will be access at the additional access points they have along Halsted Street. And there are 6 ADA corners that will require reconstruction. I did include to the right here a snapshot of a bump out that we've placed. That bump out is just to the west of Halsted Street. And that was required for that catch basin because there's a 4-duct conduit currently under the edge of pavement, the edge of pavement. So we had to bump out to avoid the conflict with that catch basin there. So our second location is South Homan Avenue from West 37th Place to roughly 300 feet north to the dead end. Homan dead ends at a BNSF railroad line to the north. Similar to 100th Street, pavement is in very poor condition. There's no existing curb and gutter. Like I mentioned, that railroad to the north, there's currently a gravel embankment which allows access to the railroad. As you can see in the picture down at the bottom of the slide, there are currently concrete blocks that restrict that access to the railroad. And then the existing roadway width for Homan varies between 25 feet and 30 feet. Homan, again, there are residential properties just north of 37th Place. And those properties go until the first alley north of 37th Place. North of that first alley, to the west of Homan, there is a park which is owned by the school a little bit further to the west. On the east side of Homan, there's a large parking lot. Along Homan, it's currently being used for truck trailer parking. There's sidewalk on both sides of Homan. On the east side, it extends north from 37th Place to that first alley. On the west side of Homan, it extends a little bit further past the alley and ties into that park. There are 2 residential driveway aprons and 2 alley aprons. They're both currently back pitching in the existing condition. On the environmental side for Homan, 1 boring was performed here. The full environmental report can be found in Book 3, Appendix C, Part 2. And the soil disposal classification for this location came back as landfill. So that is represented in the schedule of prices as earth excavation and non-special waste disposal. The proposed improvements along South Homan include full depth pavement reconstruction and widening the roadway width to that 31 feet, consistent with throughout the corridor. And then also installing curb and gutter on both sides of Homan. In addition, at that dead end to the north, there is a proposed cul-de-sac, and that cul-de-sac will have full height curb around it and will eliminate access to the roadway to the north. To the railroad to the north. And because this location is within 50 feet of a railroad, the contractor will be required to get railroad liability insurance. In addition to the pavement reconstruction, there are 2 catch basins and 2 ADA ramps at the northeast and northwest corners of 37th Place and Homan, which will be reconstructed. The lateral connections to the existing sewer for this are both going to have to be that 8-inch DIP due to horizontal and vertical clearances from existing water mains. So there's 35 feet of that. Again, the existing sewer in Homan will not be replaced or reconstructed. The 2 alley aprons and 2 driveway aprons I discussed earlier, those will both be reconstructed as part of the work here. In addition, there is an existing 12-inch water main that is to be abandoned along Homan. There are 2 fire hydrants on the west side of Homan. One is at the northwest corner of 37th Place and Homan. The other is further to the north. Just it's called out here in the image as A. The first catch basin, the first fire hydrant is to be maintained, and the water main is to be capped just north of it and abandoned, extending to the north. The fire hydrant all the way to the north there, marked as A, is going to be removed and not replaced. Our final location here is South Short Street, from South Eleanor Street to South Hillock Avenue. Similar to the first 2, pavement is in poor condition. There's no curb and gutter, and the existing roadway width varies between 27 feet and 34 feet. There are also 2 driveway aprons and 2 alley aprons at this location. I've also called out, shown some images here. There's a park just north of Short Street. That park is owned and operated by the Chicago Park District. There are 2 entrances to that park. One is on South Short Street. The other is on South Eleanor Street. And then the image down there on the bottom, I've got on the south side of South Short Street, there's a kind of double wide existing sidewalk that extends pretty far into the parkway area. On the environmental side for Short Street, there were 2 borings performed. The full environmental report is available in Book 3, Appendix C, Part 1. And the soil disposal classification came back here again as landfill, as non-special waste. So that is represented in the schedule prices, similar to Homan, as earth excavation and non-special waste disposal. One thing to note here is there was a former People's Gas and Light facility, which has since been abandoned. It's now just an empty lot to the north of this location. The proposed improvements along Short, we have full depth pavement reconstruction, again widening the roadway to 34 feet here and installing curb and gutter on both sides of the street. And the 2 alley aprons and 2 driveway aprons are proposed to be reconstructed. As I mentioned, the park at that to the north of Short, that sidewalk is proposed to be reconstructed. While that's being reconstructed, there should be access to the park along South Eleanor Street. So there's two access points. One will not be impacted by our work. And then there at the bottom, I just noted that we are removing or narrowing down that sidewalk from the widened existing condition down to the standard 6-foot sidewalk width, in addition to adding landscaping and trees in the parkway there. That kind of segues into our landscaping. All 3 of these locations will have proposed landscaping elements. The Bureau of Forestry went out and did a pretty comprehensive survey of all these sites. And they proposed locations for removal of existing trees, protection of existing trees, and then the root pruning limits. We show the removal and protection of the existing trees in our existing condition plan as part of the contract documents. And then the new trees to be planted and new grass is shown in our proposed plans. All 3 of the locations have proposed sodding to be placed in the parkways. Only 2 of the locations, however, have proposed trees to be planted in the parkways. They're 100th Street, which has 13 trees in total between the north and south parkways. And then Short Street has 9 trees in total on either side of Short Street. Finally, here we have our proposed lighting improvements. Again, all 3 locations will have proposed lighting improvements, which include new streetlights and their foundations. The new proposed streetlights will have the piggyback lighting on the back of the poles to provide lighting for the pedestrians on the sidewalk, as well as the standard luminaire providing lighting for the roadway. And then all those luminaires will be updated to the new LED lights as required by TEO. And that brings me to the end of my portion.
Thank you, Michael. I noticed that we had someone join us. If you could please introduce yourself, company name, your name and company name, please. On the iPhone. Okay. All right. Well, James, did they put their name in the chat or anything?
No name in the chat. I was also checking for any questions in the chat, but it looks like you and Mike did a great job today. No questions right now.
Awesome. Okay. Well, if there, are no questions, this concludes the pre-bid and tech review meetings for contract C1609. Thank you very much for joining us.